Hello, you sinful mortals. It's that time of year again when you need to think of a gift for your loved ones. So why not head over to MediaDwarf.com and get some sweet Geek for Fun merch. Otherwise, no one will think you love them. With that said, enjoy the episode. Also join our Discord, it's really fun.
The halls of Asgard, the golden capital of Yggdra. A place for celebration, grand battles, and learning. But on this day, one of great turmoil. For when the gods have a disagreement, it can be quite loud.
I cannot believe you allowed this to come to pass, All-Father. The misdeeds of Thor should not allow our laws to be tarnished.
Ever since Thor had returned to Asgard, the tale of his battle on Earth had quickly spread, partly due to Thor boasting as much as he could. This was not normally cause for alarm, but what was peculiar was Odin's invitation to the gods of Universe 7 to come to Asgard as compensation, something unheard of for centuries. Tyr, the god of war, and lawmaker of Yggdra, spoke aloud what many of the gods were thinking themselves, that inviting a god of destruction into their home could bring nothing but trouble.
Come, dear Tyr. Surely you of all people can understand Odin's desire to make amends? Why, I had always saw your missing arm as a beautiful reminder of the price of fair play.
Thou darest to...
Odin sat in his grand throne, watching the bickering. Or so it seemed, as the All-Father was actually fast asleep. The quick-tempered Freya, wife of Odin, gave her husband a slap to the back of the head, quickly waking him up in shock. The other gods stopped their arguing, as to them, it seemed that Odin had just leapt out of his seat in a burst of fury, while in reality, the still quite bored Odin had to rely on his raven's whispers to inform him of what had just been discussed. Satisfied with the information, Odin waved his hand dismissively, a childlike playfulness showing in his mannerisms despite his aged features.
Enough! Bickering like small children. Calm yourself, my friends. The actions of Loki and my son Thor are unfortunate. However, they also bring forth opportunity. To my dismay, I only know so much about the Xenos' recent tournament of power. I wish to rectify that.
Loki smiled in victory. Relieved, Odin seemed to want to continue the fun. Tyr sighed, before deciding to trust Odin's judgment. And Thor was currently passed out drunk in the back of the room. Preparations for the grandest feast in the 9 worlds had begun, and Odin wished to ensure it would be a memorable one indeed. A few hours passed, until the guests of honor finally arrived at the base of the World Tree. They found themselves in a checking station, quite like an airport, albeit made entirely from the roots of the World Tree. Emerging from the rainbow light that transported them were Balder, Beerus, Whis, the Supreme Kai Shin, and Son Goku. While Whis, Beerus, and Shin's divine acclaim were obvious, the group was surprised when Balder insisted that Son Goku come with them as well, declaring him the Super Saiyan God, much to the dismay of Vegeta at the time. Still, Goku was eager for an excuse to tag along, while Beerus and Whis were immediately suspicious of the Asgardians knowing of such a fact. And yet, the promise of never-before-tasted food was one they just couldn't resist.
I shall bid thee farewell in the meantime. Please, make yourselves home. Enjoy the sights of Asgard. Thou shalt be collected in a few hours, or thou shalt take haste.
With a smile that seemed to shine brighter than the city itself, Balder left the group to their own devices, Beerus being the only one of the group who didn't wave goodbye.
I don't know why you were so worried. If all the gods are like him, they're way friendlier than gods of destruction at least.
Please, that one's a total fake. You can't trust these Asgardians as far as you can throw them.
Well, I for one welcome the chance to meet a new culture. Why don't we have a look around and make a judgment for ourselves? We are guests, after all.
This place is pretty looking. But I was kinda hoping I could meet that Thor guy.
Beerus quickly realized one of the dangers in bringing Goku along. If he started a fight with Thor, things could get ugly very fast.
Now Saiyan, Supreme Kai is right. Why don't you hurry along now and go climb the world tree or something?
Well, I guess I could give it a shot. It looks pretty big, though.
Feeling that his sarcasm was being lost on the martial artist, Beerus quickly pushed Shin and Goku to get them to start moving, whispering to the Kai to keep him out of trouble. Once they had walked out of earshot, Beerus let out a sigh of relief, with Whis smiling at seeing his lord's feeble attempts at trying to control the bundle of chaos that was known as Son Goku.
Well, my lord, do you expect our dear Goku to be well behaved?
He better, or else I'm going to end up with an even bigger headache than I have already. Why did I get reduced to babysitting duty?
Perhaps it's what they call karma at work, my lord. After all, maybe you understand a little more of what my job entails.
Hey, Whis, what are you trying to say?
Nothing at all, my lord.
Goku and Shin had travelled throughout Asgard, with Shin being amazed at the level of architecture and culture on display everywhere they went. Halls dedicated to weapons and warriors drew Goku's eye, although he was curious why he never met any of the strong warriors mentioned in the tales while he was in Otherworld. Shin surmised that perhaps they had been sent to the afterlife of their native universe, but was unsure about what universe that would even be. He'd only just learnt this pocket world existed. He had no idea to fathom the true origins behind everything, beyond what Whis had told them.
It says here they went to Valhalla?
Valhalla, Hall of the Slain, where fallen warriors are brought by mighty Valkyries to eternal celebration and combat. Well, that certainly sounds like Otherworld, though I can't say I've ever heard of mortals being escorted by Valkyries.
Yeah, I don't remember that. And I've been there twice.
Two teenagers, who had been following the pair for a while now, perked up their ears at the conversation, with the tallest one now deciding to butt in.
You've been to Valhalla? Stop lying. The dead can't come back. Least I don't think.
Huh? Well, sure they can. At least in our universe. Even without a wish. I used a day pass.
The two boys were shocked at the stranger's words and were excited to ask him more about his story, but Shin was still surprised that such a people, seemingly in tune with their spiritual side, had such a unique concept of the afterlife. It gave him an uneasy feeling, and he began to wonder if this was part of the reason why Beerus was so on edge.
So then my grandpa pulled out my tail. But it was okay, since he was really just helping me. That was after the mummy and the vampire.
Whoa! Dad only talks about how great he is. Grr, I'm the mighty Thor! Bam, giant! Wah!
Goku and Shin were taken aback at realizing they had been speaking to the children of Thor, with Goku excitedly jumping towards the kids.
Your dad's Thor! He fought my son, and I hear he's really strong.
Well, Father is the strongest in the 9 worlds. But don't go thinking you can get revenge for your kid by beating us up. We're pretty strong too.
Modi, however, with slightly more common sense, decided to pull his brother's attention to the man standing in the Hall of Warriors, the beautiful Balder. Here, to collect his 2 guests, for the feast was about to begin. The mess hall was even larger than the Hall of Heroes, than any other building Shin and Goku had been to. Tables and footstools, open fires and live cattle, mead barrels the size of houses, and cups just as wide. This was where gods feasted, an honor few would ever live to see, a magical place.
Yo, little Beerus! Saved us a seat?
Beerus felt ready to eradicate the Saiyan from existence after seeing everyone in the hall turn to him, before they quickly resumed their merriment, unbothered by the impolite Saiyan. Beerus felt relieved that the Asgardian seemed to be just as lacking in manners as Goku, and was about to begin his meal, but he caught a glimpse of Odin, the old man's one eye focused on the Saiyan. The god of destruction felt his suspicions begin to be confirmed, and was ready to act should the need come to it. Before anything else could come of the fort, Whis had stolen the plate of meat Beerus had picked out, while he was lost in his thoughts.
Whis, it's not like there isn't plenty to go around.
My apologies, my lord, but you really shouldn't let your thoughts dull your instincts like that.
Beerus grumbled, but realized that Whis did have a point. Perhaps his history with Odin was warping his judgment. The food and ale smelled delightful, Despite looking rather messy, he should enjoy himself. Who cares what that old fool was up to? Goku sat down, devouring as much as he could alongside Beerus. Shin was the most reserved, as even the elegant Whis was still somehow outpacing even the two godly eaters, despite his movements never being able to be seen. Odin, however, was intently listening to one voice among the cacophony of sounds in the hall, the head of Mimir, his trusted advisor, who, well, was just a head.
"'Tis the spiky-haired lad, the Saiyan from the Tournament of Power."
He seems well-spirited, with a gut fitting even one of our greatest warriors.
If what your ravens have brought us is true, as it always is, then this Saiyan was able to achieve a power not even the gods can reach. I'd be extremely wary.
As I feared. So be it. Let us see how things play out when Thor arrives. Perhaps this boy will bring me even greater knowledge under my service.
A few minutes passed, and the God of Thunder arrived in the hall at last, bringing his wife Sif and his boys, who directed him to sit beside Goku, as they had told their father about the spiky-haired stranger.
Well met! I am known throughout time and space as the immortal Thor. I believe I punched your son yesterday. I hope he is well.
Yeah, he's fine now. Gohan doesn't go down that easily.
I'd have thought not. Good stock, that one. What a feat it would be if my own boys had half the spirit he showed. But enough of the past. What is thou title, my friend?
I'm Son Goku. From what I've been hearing all day, you're the strongest guy around here.
Well, I suppose the deeds of Thor are somewhat awe-inspiring.
Beerus gave Thor a glare, raising his head from his food for a moment.
Stronger than your All-Father?
Well, the All-Father is wiser than I, but yes, I am known as the mightiest in the 9 worlds.
Really now?
Beerus gave a glance to Whis, then to Odin, who had fallen asleep. Beerus put his hand to his face, deciding that he really was overthinking all of this. Shin had asked to be relieved, an invitation from Freya, who was interested in meeting the Supreme Kai, to explore the scrolls of Asgard were far more interesting to him than any feasting could be, and so his seat was left open for Loki to take. The god of mischief had made himself comfortable, his face and form flickering like a majestic flame, beautiful one moment, stunning the next, never quite able to read his facial expression.
My Saiyan, what an impressive appetite you have. It is a shame you've probably filled up before the best dish.
Oh, no, I've got plenty of room. What's the best dish?
Loki smiled, pointing over to Thor, who was eating what looked to be a cooked goat.
That goat, well, specifically the bone marrow, is the most delectable dish on Asgard.
Delecto what?
It's, really nice tasting.
Well, I don't know. Maybe if he was sharing it, but no one's taking any. I don't want to be mean, I just got here.
Oh, come now. Just simply because they've all had a piece already. You're missing out, truly. It's a bliss that will take all your worries away.
Beerus, upon hearing Loki describe the food, decided he needed something good today, and reached over to Thor's plate, grabbing a chunk of goat and devouring it, bone marrow and all. All eyes in the hall turned in shock to Beerus, who was too busy licking his lips to care, until Thor rose to his feet, lightning surging around him in waves.
You dare! I'll have your head for this offense, destroyer!
Oh, are you threatening me over some food? How childish.
Beerus rose to his feet. The hypocrisy of his statement, given his own past actions, were lost on him. He was simply not going to tolerate such an open challenge. Goku, confused, turned his head to Loki, asking why Thor was so angry. Loki explained that Thor's goats can be revived, completely healthy, so long as the bone marrow was left intact. Now he's afraid Tooth Grinder will be missing a leg.
Hey, so you were trying to trick me?
No, I was telling the truth. They really do taste quite nice.
Before Goku could confront Loki, he was distracted by the two igniting auras of the opposing deities. Purple energy and white-hot lightning cascading around the room. They were both prepared to fight here and now, but Odin, who was surprisingly awake, quickly spoke to settle the development.
Let us not destroy this long-prepared feast over a petty squabble. The crime of the destroyer is great, but I propose an honorable duel to settle the matter, in the battlegrounds, for all to see.
Beerus turned to Odin, wondering what his game was.
Wait, hold on a sec. If Thor's fighting, do you think I can fight for Lord Beerus instead?
Odin smiled. Things were going exactly how he had foreseen.
A most unusual request, but I suppose 'tis fitting to have thee as his representative. I shall allow this.
Before Beerus could respond, things were already in motion, and with a single tap of his staff, the trio of Whis, Beerus, and Goku were teleported into the divine battlegrounds of Asgard. The spectators rested atop a grassy hill as the fighters stood on a rocky coastline just below it. Goku was amazed at being teleported as a group without needing physical contact, but he was more focused on the fact that his battle with Thor could finally begin.
You ready to get started?
Thou were not the one who deserved my rage, but very well. Have at thee, son Goku!
Thor charged towards Goku with his fist pulled back, Goku instantly turning into his Super Saiyan state in response, yeah! And attempting to time a counterblow, Goku's fists beating Thor's to its destination and smashing against the Thunder God's face. However, Thor simply smiled, completely unfazed by the blow, and proceeded to grab Goku and slam into the ground with a suplex. The Super Saiyan tried to get up, but Thor was too fast and proceeded to kick the grounded warrior into the air. Goku was sent hurtling towards the onlookers on the cliff before stopping his momentum in a burst of ki, ascending to his Super Saiyan 2 state and beginning to charge a Kamehameha. Thor looked at the fighter, remembering the move from when Gohan had used it on him. He posed defiantly, goading Goku to fire. However, just as Thor blinked, Goku had vanished, the Asgardian turning his head to the blue and gold glow now directly in front of him. Goku transformed even further, now in Super Saiyan 3. Goku's instant transmission Kamehameha landed on target, but the Saiyan could see Thor's shadow in the beam, unfazed by the blast.
Let's turn it up a notch then!
Goku's Super Saiyan aura burned away in a red flame, causing the Kamehameha to explode with a sudden burst of power. Thor was in shock at the drastic increase, having no time to block given his relaxed stance. The blast sent the god crashing into the waves, with the spectators in shock, seeing Thor moved at all. The Thunderer emerged from the waves, letting out a bellowing laugh of joy at the display. Now this was what he was looking for. Finally, he could fight using his real strength. The deity reached for his hammer, and the world around them began to shake, as if it were afraid of the power being unshackled.
Mayhap it is time I become serious then.
A hammer? You're gonna fight me with that little rinky-dink thing?
'Tis no mere trinket, friend. Thou may like to change thy hair color.
Mjolnir crackled with lightning, the shape-changing hammer assuming its massive battle form.
But it is Mjolnir that favors a more modest shape when not in battle.
Goku was amazed as Thor quickly closed the distance between them, launching a swing that just barely missed the Saiyan's face, but cracked the ground beneath them in two from the resulting lightning-infused shockwave. Thor kept swinging wildly, and while the blows were lacking finesse, the power and speed behind them sent chills down Goku's spine. Finally, Thor had seemed to find his groove, being a fighter who improved the more engrossed he became. He was quickly outpacing Goku, and as such, finally managed to strike the Saiyan with a vicious swing, catapulting the warrior into the upper atmosphere of the planet with a single blow. The only thing that kept Goku's torso attached to his body was a defensive transformation into Super Saiyan Blue. Just before the hammer made contact. Groggy from the blow, the martial artist barely managed to register that he was still being sent upwards, and would have kept going into space had he not teleported back down beside Thor on the ground.
That was a close one! Just how heavy is that hammer?
Mjolnir is beyond the comprehension of mere mortals and even the gods.
I've had to lift a real heavy hammer before, and a heavy sword. Let me at it.
Verily, if thou insist.
With one arm, Thor tossed the gigantic hammer towards Goku, who tried to respond with one hand but was immediately sent into a crater in the ground. The Saiyan struggled with all his might to raise the hammer up, both his arms, his entire body straining every muscle. And still, not even a budge. Goku wiped his brow, amazed that Thor could wield such a weapon, and somewhat understanding why it would take a couple of swings to get into the rhythm of wielding such a thing. He even began to doubt that Jiren or Broly could be able to wield the weapon with as much ease as Thor. Still, all this only made him more eager to try out an idea he had had.
I guess something like that's not my style, but I'm no stranger to using something as an extension of my fighting.
Goku reached into his gi and pulled out an old friend. The Power Pole. Something he had brought after hearing Gohan's warning of Thor wielding a dangerous weapon. Goku readied the staff in a fierce display of finesse, punctuated by a sudden explosion of his aura.
Kaioken!
The Kaioken was on full display, and Goku was ready to go all out. The pair charged at each other, their weapons clashing and sending impacts across the battlefield, obliterating everything that encountered the force of the blows. The exchange was favouring Thor at first, with the greater empowered speed of the deity pushing Goku onto the defensive even with his Kaioken. But given enough time, Goku began to use the power pole to attack openings in Thor's guard, no longer trying to match the strength of the hammer, but subvert and redirect it. Thor was incredibly powerful, one of the strongest beings Goku had ever encountered, but he did lack finesse, his years without any real challenges showing as Goku exposed weaknesses in his fighting style Thor had no idea had existed. The god was far from a slouch, and he was no novice, still forcing Goku to battle as fast and as smartly as he had ever had before, as just one solid hit could end this match. Goku's superior skill, however, was beginning to turn the tide, and Thor seemed to only grow in rage for every one of Goku's blows that hit and every one of his own that missed. Odin noticed Thor's increased ferocity as the minutes passed, and smiled once again. Beerus, however, despite seeing Goku have his moments, was on edge.
Something about this is off.
What do you mean, my lord?
This fight, something's not right. Odin's pushy and he doesn't like me. He'd jump at any opportunity to see me possibly lose a fight.
And?
So why would he so readily allow Goku to fight on my behalf? He would have insisted that I fight.
Meanwhile, on the battlefield, Goku was beginning to be overwhelmed. Any prior gaps in defense Thor once had were quickly being washed away, as the god now looked as if he was swinging on pure rage, a warrior madness, triggered by the thrill and the heat of a real battle that was terrifying to see up close. It seemed that this was Thor in his most natural state, acting on pure emotion and rage, and as a result, his powers began to skyrocket far beyond what Goku could comfortably handle. Still, the Super Saiyan God refused to be intimidated, and cracked the power pole against the side of Thor's temple, to the center of his stomach, and then, using his legs, swept Thor's footing before catching the falling Thor with an uppercut to the chin. Despite the combination landing effectively, Thor seemingly didn't feel any pain, as his rage was overpowering any other emotion he might have. Thor roared in fury and grabbed Goku by the hair, slamming him into the cliff face and throwing the battered Saiyan up, only to smash him into the ground with a downward swing of Mjolnir. Goku was sent into a crater so deep no one could see the bottom, while the wild Thor let out a warrior cry of victory. Odin clapped, as did the other Asgardians, while Beerus and Whis waited. They had seen Goku in this hopeless situation before. They knew something else could be born. As an ethereal light emerged from the crater, Beerus turned to Odin with a grin he had been waiting to give all day.
Now you've done it. Hitting the Saiyan with a blow like that was the worst thing you could have done.
Goku's silhouette began to be revealed, seemingly in his base form, albeit for the silver glow now emanating from his eyes. The Saiyan began to slowly walk out of his blinding aura, his black hair quickly changing to white in a flowing stream of power. Thor, still engulfed by the battle and not really comprehending what was happening, prepared to strike once more with Mjolnir. But to Goku, it was as if the god hadn't even started moving. Thor's eyes widened, as now he felt pain, as a single blow to the stomach brought the god to his knees. Thor valiantly tried to get up, but he found himself in the ground once more, the Saiyan's attacks hitting him so fast that Thor didn't even realize he had been hit until the damage came. The Asgardian refused to relent, however, and he did manage to raise to one knee despite the beating he had been given, but he was still helpless as Goku began to charge an energy blast, one small, compact, and holding more power within it than Thor had ever seen. Odin knew he had to act, and so he did. Whispers were suddenly sent into Goku's mind, secrets, memories, thoughts. The clarity of Ultra Instinct was disrupted, and as quickly as it came, the power vanished into the wind, Goku's hair fading to black, and his eyes returning to normal, before all the pain and stress of his form and the battle overwhelmed him at once, leaving Goku to fall helplessly to the ground, unconscious. Despite this sudden development confusing the spectators, Thor himself was too lost in the battle to pay it a second thought, assuming this was just the last-ditch effort of a mighty warrior. Given enough time to regather his strength, the injured Thor lifted Mjolnir above his head before bringing it down to crush the Saiyan. And he would have, had Beerus not caught the hammer, now standing in between Thor and the fallen Goku.
What a cliffhanger. I'm really proud of this episode in particular, so I hope it makes you want to stick around to see how the rest of the story plays out. We got a lot of great talent to bring our Dragon Ball Super arc to life, and I want to thank each and every one of them. Without you guys, none of this would be the same. For those of you familiar with DB What Ifs or Abridging, you may recognise our Goku. Masako X will be joining the cast as Goku for whenever we deal with the main DB canon, while Devil Kick Sanji will be remaining as our DBDC Kakarot. Special shout out to Malik, who did the awesome designs for Thor, Loki, and Odin. We'd love for the fans to help make this feel like a real continuation of Dragon Ball Super, so any fan art would be fantastic. Thank you for watching, like and share this around, but most of all, take it easy folks.